The year is 1762. London is a city of shadows and whispers, narrow streets choked with coal smoke and fog. Carriages clatter over cobblestones, lamps cutting feeble paths through the gloom. In the heart of the city lies a small, unremarkable street. It is called Cock Lane. Modest lodgings, ordinary lives. But something extraordinary is about to happen here. Something that will capture the imagination of the nation. From the poorest labourer to the highest prince of the realm, all eyes will turn to this single, cramped lane. Cock Lane sits in Smithfield, a bustling market, a grim history of public executions. The air seems to carry echoes of the past. In one house, a rented room becomes the centre of a chilling mystery. A young woman named Fanny. Not born here, she came with William Kent. Their life together was complicated. Fanny fell ill with smallpox. She suffered in a small, damp room. Her death was sadly common in the city, but her story did not end. Soon after burial, strange things began. Faint noises at first, a scratching sound, like a cat on wood. Then a soft, rhythmic knocking from inside the walls. The noises grew louder, insistent, as if sending a message. The Parsons were terrified. They believed they were not alone. They believed Fanny had returned. In the 18th century, the veil between worlds was thought to be thin. People widely believed that the dead could return. A spirit might come back to warn the living of some hidden danger, or it might return to seek justice for a terrible wrong. The story was first a local rumour, a whispered tale shared between neighbours over a fence or in a crowded pub. The story was picked up by the city's newspapers and pamphlets. Printers churned out sensational accounts of the scratching ghost. The tale of Fanny's restless spirit spread like wildfire through the city's coffee houses and drawing rooms. The Parsons family claimed the spirit was indeed Fanny. They said she was trying to communicate with them. A local preacher helped them develop a system. 1 knock meant yes, 2 knocks meant no. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to ask the unseen presence questions. The answers would prove to be more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The city was captivated. People from all walks of life were drawn to the small house on Cock Lane. A spirit that had a terrible secret to reveal to the world. A secret that would demand a hanging. At the heart of this ghostly tale were 2 living men. Richard Parsons, the landlord of the house on Cock Lane, was a parish clerk. The other man was William Kent. He was a broker from Norfolk, a man of some means. He had lent Parsons a sum of 12 guineas, a significant amount at the time. The relationship between the landlord and the lodger soured. The loan was the source of the trouble. Kent, confident in his position, took Richard Parsons to court. The judge heard the case, and the verdict was clear. Richard Parsons lost. The court ruled in favour of William Kent. It was shortly after this legal defeat, after Kent had moved out following Fanny's death, that the strange noises began. The scratching, the knocking, the sounds that would soon be given a name and a voice. A voice that seemed to have a very specific target for its anger. The story of Scratching Fanny had erupted into a full-blown public sensation, drawing in people from every level of London society. Religious leaders arrived with Bibles in hand, minds torn between faith and scepticism. Sir Samuel Fludyer, the Lord Mayor, took an interest. The affair disturbed the peace. It was his duty to investigate. A strange mix, a grim vigil and a lively fair. The fame of the Cock Lane ghost reached the very highest echelons of British society. Prince Edward, the Duke of York and Albany, decided he had to witness the phenomenon for himself. The Duke and his companions listened intently as the invisible entity answered the questions put to it, affirming its identity and its terrible story of murder and betrayal. It was a mystery that had been presented before and seemingly validated by a prince of the realm. To clear his name, Kent knew he had to confront the source of the accusations directly. He decided to attend a séance himself. In the presence of Kent and the medical professionals who had cared for her, the spirit of Fanny was asked directly if she had been poisoned by him. From the darkness came a single, affirmative knock. Yes. For Kent and his companions, it was a moment of dreadful clarity. This was not a spirit. This was a performance. A challenge was issued. A group of investigators would go to the vault where the spirit claimed its remains lay. They entered the cold, silent church and descended into the damp, musty vault. They called out to the spirit of Fanny. They demanded that it knock, but no sound came. The ghost of Cock Lane was absent. A new committee was formed, led by Dr. Samuel Johnson. He approached the Cock Lane ghost not with fear, but with a methodical and analytical mind. The committee decided to isolate the girl from her family and place her under constant observation. It was during this intense vigil that Dr. Johnson noticed something crucial. He saw the girl making strange motions with her hands beneath the covers. The final test was designed to be inescapable. The ghost, it seemed, could not operate when its supposed conduit was physically prevented from moving her limbs freely. Investigators searched the girl's clothing and bedding. They found what they had been looking for. It was a small, smooth piece of board. Elizabeth had concealed this piece of wood on her person. It was a simple, crude trick, but in the darkness of a crowded room, it had fooled a nation. Faced with the evidence, Elizabeth Parsons broke down. She explained how her father, Richard Parsons, had forced her to create the noises. The entire haunting had been an elaborate and malicious hoax. The exposure of the hoax was as sensational as the haunting itself. The main culprit, Richard Parsons, was arrested. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison and to be placed in the public pillory 3 times. This was a brutal form of public humiliation. His wife was also found complicit in the scheme and received a sentence of 1 year in prison. William Kent, the target of the entire conspiracy, was finally and completely exonerated. Today, Cock Lane is quiet, with little trace of 1762's chaos. The story of the Cock Lane ghost serves as a stark reminder of the power of belief, and how easily public opinion can be swayed by whispers and printed gossip. The most unsettling ghosts are not always spirits, but the deceptions and desires that haunt the living, waiting in darkness to be heard.